Hey everybody, we have a BenQ MX710 to look at today. It's a little older. These are, I think these were made from 2010 till 2013. So this is anywhere from 5 to 8 years old. I want to see if there's a any kind of date info on the bottom. Oh, here we are, August 2010. So this is one of the original series in the series. It's a decent projector, 2700 lumen. It's got a 5300 to 1 contrast ratio and about a 4000 hour lamp life. This one, however, was acquired with another one. I have two of these, and they were picked up without knowing what's going on. Pretty much, someone could say sight unseen or as is. So they're not from a customer. These, I picked them up, and depending on what kind of condition they're in, I may use it myself, or I may sell them. And I plan on selling at least one of them. And depending, might do a giveaway when I get to 1,000 subscribers, depending on what that, or when that happens. You know, if it's a couple months from now, I may have a different projector to do that with. But if it's sooner, because I'm getting closer to 500, then maybe I'll do it sooner. But we'll see. More importantly, now we want to figure out what's going on with this one. Now, I could just fire it up. And what I will do is I will put some power to it just to make sure we have power. But I don't want to actually turn it on until I open it up and make sure that the fans and the color wheel and all that are in good shape. But we will check to make sure that there's power, which there is. So that's good. So let me unplug it. And we want to look at the lamp first. You can see I took that lamp screw out on the side. That goes right here. And once that is removed, this cover just kind of lifts up. There's a little spring clip right there, which grabs that tab. You can see that there's a nub button right here that pushes, pushes the lamp switch. I think that's that right there. Yeah, that's a power switch, the main power switch for the lamp interrupt. What I noticed as soon as I pulled this cover off is that this plastic is very dirty. This little cover, that's all dust. That leads me to believe that this thing is probably packed full, probably never been cleaned. This in itself isn't a big deal, it's what it indicates. The lamp is loose. Let's pop the lamp out. This looks like it was an OEM. Trying to see if there's any identifying, oh my goodness, yeah, no identifying marks. It is using a Phillips bulb, but what I first noticed immediately is all of that dust. I know you hear me crow about dust a lot, but it really is the biggest problem with projectors. You can see that. If there's dust on here, that's really bad. You shouldn't have dust inside the lamp. Although the lamp is still running. Or at least it didn't burn or crack from what I can see. You know what? Let's get my little lamp tester. Alright, this is my little battery-powered, high-voltage power supply. I'm going to disconnect one wire from the bulb. Otherwise, they will arc inside the connector. You'll see what I mean. So clip this here and this here. If I were to keep that connected, we'd see an arc inside there. So then let's spin the lamp around, point it, and you should be able to see a little blue glow when I push the button. Just like that. So that means the lamp's still good. It's dirty, but good, which is encouraging actually. We'll put that wire back on. Is it tight? Yeah, alright. So we'll need to clean the lamp out I'm going to put that on the cover and just kind of push it over to the side. Let's get the tester out of the way. Alright, so then, yeah, just a quick examination. I can see, and you can probably even see it, that dust down in there. So this thing's probably chock full. Let's get the top off. Let's see, one, and then a bunch of screws on the bottom. Is there anything underneath here? No. So just the bottom. Alright, now the top should just start popping loose. Let me get my spudger. There we go. I'm pretty sure this model doesn't have a keyboard on the top. I think it has just buttons on the main board. Let's see, yeah, that is the case. There's the inside of the top cover. It's not too bad. Definitely have dust buildup though. Yeah, this thing was just pretty dusty. The lamp blower fan is the one that I suspect is full. Color wheel doesn't look too bad though. We'll check the color wheel sensor. I have a feeling this is just going to need a decent cleaning, and then it'll be good to go. This is bent. I wonder if somebody else has been in here. Doesn't look like it. If somebody else was in here, I'd expect to see this not in the right spot. You know, certain telltale signs of somebody being in there. But that's just curious. Now the main board screws I'm going to put in their own organizer instead of the rest of the screws. I know there's one right under here. I have to be careful getting to it. Get the color wheel sense wire out. Trying to get to the screw that is under here. There we go. Oops, sorry. Bumped y'all. That should mean this whole board should come out now. And I think this is all going to come together. By the way, we have fan, ballast control, exhaust fan, other fan. The main power here goes down to the main power supply. That's the lamp door button. Then we have fan, speaker, infrared, color wheel sensor. So it's looking like I'm probably going to have to take these fasteners off to take this back panel out. Let's take the screw out first for the component, or composite, I mean. And then let's get a 5mm. Yep. So now I should be able to pull that plastic bit off the back. Yep. Some screws here. Do they go through? Yeah, they go through to that bracket underneath. I've never worked on a 710 before. I've worked on plenty of other ones, but not the MX710. Yeah, this thing's been serviced, it looks like. There's the ROM, firmware chip right here. And there's a second sticker on top of the original sticker. MX710 100-BF or B9F1. Let's see if I can see what the old one said. Let's see, it says MX710 33D3 or 39D3. So yeah, there was a firmware change on this. So that sticker's going to fall off. Let's put it in the bin. Alright, so now this should lift off. There's a power connector under here that goes through a bunch of pins. And then the DMD connection is in the front here. Just trying to get a good place to wiggle. There we are. As long as you wiggle and lift, should just come right up. There's the bottom side of the upper main board. We have a lower daughter board here. This is, it's like there's a little microcontroller in there, computer of sorts. There's some RAM, I think. Because there's LAN and USB and other USB. So there's going to be some kind of controller for the USB. Yeah, let's look at it real quick. Let's see, was that? No, I don't have one big enough, do I? Nope. No. Do it the old-fashioned. Do I even need to? Oh, I don't even need to. Cool. Alright, now we can look at it. I don't know why those are all empty. I don't know if they're supposed to touch something or if they were for testing or what. Be my guess, but can't really tell. And we have plenty of dust stuck around the heatsink pad. I'm going to clean that off. But this is the computer, I assume. Yep. Got a Pixelworks chip in there. PWC807G. Imagine that's some sort of microcontroller for the LAN and USB. I'm going to clean all that up. Don't want to lose that. We'll just keep that there with the main board. And this is what we're trying to get to, is the that lamp fan right there. Okay. So let's get the metal bracket out. So we have a screw. Oh, zoom me back out. Got a screw down here. And then another one behind it, or in front of it, depending on your vantage point. And this is a pretty common design. This chassis, I've seen this used in so many other projectors. I want to say Optima, so I can't quite recall off the top of my head. I just need to be careful with the color wheel cable. There we are. Alright, now last but not least, get that lamp fan out. And after that's clean, I will feel very confident in reassembling this and starting it up. I'm going to clean the rest of it too, of course. But I want to take this fan out, because this fan is critical to its operation. Now, the wire I just unplugged goes to a thermal fuse right here. Now the fan is just this part, and it's actually not too bad. It just has some, I don't know, just very pronounced dust. You can see the blades are pretty clogged. You can see a little better over here. So I'm going to go clean all this out, and I'll be right back. And I'm back, and we are clean. You can see much better. We will put this back in. Make sure we put the wire back. There we are. I need to use my drill more because my tendonitis is acting up a little bit. Or I assume it's tendonitis. My hands hurt when I use the screwdrivers too long. But that tip wasn't magnetized, so I'll go back to this one for a moment, at least to get the fan back in. All right. Get my magnetic. There we go. Let's see. Yep. This bit. I like that one. Oh. This bit. I like this bit right here. I noticed that myself and other people have a problem where they go to show something on a camera and they go, oh yeah, here's my spudger. Because when I'm doing it, I'm looking at it for plenty of time, not realizing that you'll have to focus in on it and realize what it is and all that. So, still learning about making a decent video. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm going to set this back in. And the tricky part is just making sure you have the wires not getting pinched. or even cut. The edge of this metal is kind of sharp, so it takes a little adjustment to get everything in the right spot. This, oh, you can't really see it right here where it slides over the IEC connector is really important on how it lines up. There we go. I like that. Looks good. Now I can put these screws back in. I'm going to start with the ground. Usually the wires will kind of wind themselves back up. That's good. And then the 3 screws that hold this down to the base. Now, upcoming, I plan to have a video about repairing the power supply in an HD20. You know, even though they're quite old now, the HD20 is still a popular and good projector. And I've had one sitting on my shelf for quite a while now that needs the power supply repaired. This screw I did put in with the drill, but I want to snug it by hand because the plastic that it's going into looked a little brittle. This plastic, as it heats and cools, it dries out. Actually, it gets drier than it was, even though there's no water in it per se. I mean, I guess there's some moisture, but it'll get brittle as it gets older. Alright, just want to clean that stuff off. And we'll get our thermal pad ready again. Just lay that in place. And we'll get our daughter board. Actually, what I'm going to do with the daughter board is reconnect it to the main board and put it all in at once. I have a feeling that's the way it's intended. And that's why those 2 screws weren't exposed until I opened it. Now it all makes sense. So I didn't even need to take those out. So for future reference, if you work on one of these 2 screws that hold the daughter board in, just leave them unless you actually have to get to the daughter board. That screw's loose. There we go. And let's make sure I don't have different screws for those. Nope. There we go. This tip I think is for, this is for smaller screws. I thought I had my number 2 tip in there, and that's my number 1 tip, I think. Let's see, does it say? So 341 PM or PN. Oh, I didn't magnetize this one. There we go. One. Yep. All right. So they're tight. Then again, need to make sure the wires are back so they don't get pinched. Pardon me, pinched under the board. I need to go straight down because I need to engage these pins and that card edge. That feels good. And I'm looking through here, and you probably can't see it. But let me get my flashlight, and you can see what I mean. There's the power connector right there, that black thing, and the pins are going up under it. And they are lined up nicely. I can see the plastic on the right spot. So that means all of this stuff can now start to be plugged back in. Color wheel. Am I worrying about the color wheel? You know what? Before we go further, let's pop the color wheel out and check the color wheel sensor. It's pretty easy to do. Should just be 1 or 2 screws, I think. 1. Now, is that not going to come out without taking the whole optic assembly out? Yeah, that's what it looks like. Now let's see how it works first. I did, clean all of the inside, so rather than take a chance and damage it, let's try it now that all the dust is out. I normally worry about the sensor. Where are they? Is that one? Yeah, okay. So I've shown these before, but this little black 4-pin chiclet is a photo detector. One side sends out infrared light and the other side picks it up. And if this gets dust on it inside there, it can make it act weird. But since I cleaned everything inside, I'm going to suspect that all that's clean too. Let's get our wire back through there. Oh wait, is that one not going there? It must be for a different model. Alright, these 2 wires are going to be last because I need to put the metal on. But this one can go on. The speaker. Just going to move these out of the way. It's a problem with these wires. They always want to get in your way. And then the IR. Another fan. The lamp blower fan is this one. And then that's the ballast control. Looked like that was up under there. Forget now. We'll look at the metal. And then exhaust fan. And power supply fan. Sometimes they call them by their fan number. Sometimes they call them by their function. Let's get that metal shield. This kind of clips on. Actually, I'm going to see if I can... it's fine. Alright. So I can start putting the rest of the screws back in. First one will be... Oops, the one that I drop. I'll start them with this. Just my hand's really hurting today. I have to wear my brace. Alright, that one's started. I'm going to get all these started. And then I'm going to go back with the screw gun, tighten everything. Alright, so that wire does go up there. That's right, because this holds it. And this one. Alright. Turn my clutch way down. Then we'll deal with all this. So the color wheel connector, you can see it has contacts on one side and then backing on the other side. The connector itself, it's kind of hard to see, but it has connections on both sides. You always want to pay attention to which side was up originally. And in this case, it was the connector side was up. A lot of these connectors will only have connections on one side. They make it a little easier. This is not one of those kinds of connectors. Not a big deal though. Just kind of get that back in there. And then this goes right next to it. Maybe I should have done the sensor wire first. And then that drops into there too. That looks good. Alright. So before I put all these back in on the back, we're going to put the lamp back in, wedge this in place and try it out. Alright, so let's... Oh, and I cleaned out the lamp. Looks way, way better. So we'll set the lamp in, and that'll line up with those nubs on the color wheel. And then the screw for that is over here. And I actually want to put the screw in. Sometimes you can run them without the screw, but it really helps keep it in alignment. Then we need to defeat the safety switch. So I just get a small flathead screwdriver, push down the button, and just gently, ever so gently, it's kind of wedge it in there to hold the button down. That way if something goes really wrong, I can go and it'll turn right off. Don't put it in the side because then you might break something, like really break something. Just kind of gently put it on the edge. It should only go in a millimeter or two, not much at all. Alright, so there's no keyboard to plug in, so we'll just get our power. And we have our standby light, which is good. And let's see, I'll back it up a little just so we can hopefully see when it projects. Hey, good signs. Lamp and color wheel came right on. Wow, the picture's coming up fast. I don't have a screen set up. Get a piece of paper. What do we have? The BenQ. Yep. I see the BenQ. Ooh. And we have a bad DLP chip. That's a little bit of a shame. All those dots. It's got a bad DMD. I wonder if the other one's like this. It would have been good to know this when I bought it from the seller, so I may have to double check that listing and see if this was sold as parts or what. But you can see all those little dots there. That's bad mirrors in the DMD. See if I... Sometimes they'll... Yeah, you can kind of see a couple of them changing when I do that. That's a shame. I may have one of these around. I'm going to have to look it up and see which one it is. But we can see the projector's working well, aside from that. So, we turn it off. And I'm going to go do some quick research on the DMD and see if I have one. And if I do, we'll pick that up in part 2. It's already 35 minutes into this video, so after editing, it'll probably still be about a half hour. If if you have any questions up to this point, stick them in the comments. Otherwise, stay tuned for part 2. Thank you for watching.